Less than a year after Wiles started working in politics, she joined Ronald Reagan's campaign ahead of his 1980 election. She went on to play a key role in transforming politics in Florida, where she lives. In 2010, she turned Rick Scott, a then businessman with little political experience, into Florida's governor in just 7 months. Scott is now a U.S. Senator. Wiles met Trump during the 2015 Republican presidential primary and became the co-chair of his Florida campaign. He went on to win the state over Hillary Clinton in 2016. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who put her in charge of his successful gubernatorial race 2 years later, described Wiles as the best in the business. Wiles worked on the Trump campaign alongside Chris LaCivita, a veteran of Republican politics with decades of experience. The two worked with Trump to formulate a winning presidential primary strategy. In her Politico profile, the 67-year-old grandmother, who is the daughter of late American football player and broadcaster Pat Summerall, said that she comes from a traditional political background. "In my early career things like manners mattered and there was an expected level of decorum," she said, describing the Republican Party as significantly different than the one of several decades ago. "And so I get it that the GOP of today is different," she said, referring to the Republican Party, who are also called the Grand Old Party, GOP. "There are changes we must live with in order to get done the things we're trying to do." What does the Chief of Staff do? The Chief of Staff is considered to be the President's top aide, and plays a crucial role in every president's administration. They essentially serve as the manager of the White House and are responsible for putting together a president's staff. A chief leads the staff through the executive office of the president and oversees all daily operations and staff activities. They also advise presidents on policy issues and are responsible for directing and overseeing policy development. This would only demonstrate once again, Donald Trump is not a misogynist, and that he only seeks to include prepared and competent people on his team regardless of their gender. With this, the Democrats will also have fewer arguments in saying that Donald Trump and the Republicans are sexist and misogynist. In the other hand, President Trump became the first president to name an openly gay person to a cabinet-level position this week with the appointment of Richard Grenell as acting director of national intelligence. Grenell was already the highest-profile gay person in an administration with a mixed record on LGBTQ+ rights. As ambassador to Germany, he spearheaded a global effort to end the criminalization of homosexuality in nearly 70 countries where it is still illegal. The initiative followed the reported hanging of a gay man in Iran, one of the Trump administration's adversaries, and in an op-ed for a German news publication Grenell voiced a call to arms. Being gay is a death sentence in 8 countries and criminalized in 70 more. LGBT status or conduct means arrest, imprisonment, and violence for people who are simply dating or falling in love. Governments that are members of the United Nations have an obligation to protect, respect, and uphold the dignity and fundamental freedoms of their people, he wrote. But while some praised the efforts when they were announced in January 2019, there is little to show for them a year later. Only one country, Botswana, has decriminalized homosexuality since then. Ryan Thoresen, an LGBTQ+ researcher for Human Rights Watch, tells NBC News the country's high court decision was made in a case started before Grenell's initiative in 2019. Trump was the first Republican presidential nominee to mention gay rights on the campaign trail. But since taking office, he's rolled back LGBTQ+ protections. The same month this initiative was announced, the Supreme Court granted the Trump administration the ability to temporarily enforce restrictions on transgender people serving in the military, although it left one nationwide injunction on Trump's order in place. NBC News reports the U.S. Embassy in Berlin hosted a roundtable on the subject of decriminalizing homosexuality in July. In December, Grenell hosted a UN breakout session to discuss the efforts. The discussion underscored the United States' commitment to the principle that all governments must respect the equality and human dignity of each person under their jurisdiction, regardless of sexual orientation, he said in a statement. "To all this I can only say, Donald Trump is a president who will protect his citizens regardless of their sexual preferences or gender. He will be a president who will put his citizens first and who will work in the interests of his citizens." Good guys, that's all for today. Thank you for watching this video. Please consider subscribing and liking the videos. See you next time.